Alright, so welcome to Story 1, the crazy light being experience that just happened the other day. So if you don't resonate with the use of psilocybin, then this might not be the video for you. If you do resonate with the tool that psilocybin is, then I'm going to go ahead and start this crazy story. So I was given a cap and a stem. It was pretty small. It has been about a year and a half since I have taken any adequate amount of psilocybin, like enough to actually trip. I'm a very busy person. I just really don't have time to partake in that. I wish that I had more time to do that because I do really enjoy it. But I had taken, it was the strain of the penis envy kind. Anyone that has taken that strain knows that it is particularly strong, so I would like to say that and get that out of the way. And I am a lover of psilocybin. After I lost everything in my life and ended up doing time, I was very depressed when I came home, and the psilocybin was my saving grace and really got me to understand that I was on a spiritual journey and where that path needed to go from there. So anyways, I mixed it with some tea, I drank it. I usually love to just lay down and just close my eyes and just go inward. I had the intent of just cleansing any like bad energy off of me when I took it, and everything was going normal, like a normal session would go. And all of a sudden I have two light beings on this side and one in front of me, and I'm a light body and we are going up into the heavens. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Because I'm a very critical thinking, skeptical kind of person, especially about anything that would be considered a hallucination or psychosis or anything like that, especially tied to spiritual psychosis or hallucinations that would come about with any type of psychedelic experience. So I was pretty blown away when this whole experience began, and we traveled up for, it seemed like a little bit of time. I recall remembering that after, and I was like, that took a minute to get wherever that we were going, which is also a little strange. But we get up there, and the two on my sides and myself seemed to be glowing of a white kind of orangish, a white orangish type light. But the one that was right in front of me seemed to be this more pink light. And that's the one that put something on my soul, and somehow I instinctively knew that I would need this from here on out. And since then, I have felt completely different in life. After I woke up, I woke up in my body after the experience, and everything just went back to what a regular session would be like, and I just had a little stomach ache. So it was a little bit more than a microdose, I would say. It was not too strong of an experience for anyone that has maybe eaten like chocolate bars. Like, I would say it would be the equivalent of maybe eating like two pieces at the most. Like, it was a very, just not a strong trip. And so I was like, what was that all about? Not just that, but the power that I have stepped in since then, like, is just insane. I feel all this energy, and it feels extremely positive and divine to me. My intuition tells me it has everything to do with the divine and what's coming, and I think that was some kind of activation, honestly. And I know that a lot of Christians think that like everything is demonic, and I think that is a really unfair thing to assume, because the same people that would say, well, everything is demonic and yoga is demonic and you're getting fooled into this and that, and you're messing with the wrong thing. I do believe that some people probably had pretty horrible experiences that were evil, that had to do with psychedelics. I am not saying that those experiences are not the truth of that individual. So everyone's experience is subjective and valid in its own right to that own person. So I had a second part of this strange experience. There was really no transition from my experience with these light beings. I found myself just this floating consciousness after they added the piece to my soul, and I ended up being in this like realm of the gods or something. Like, this is so crazy, and I really had my reservations about coming out and telling this story, because it's a lot, and I know that a lot of experiencers get made fun of, and I have spent years combing through other people's experiences, and I really feel now how they have such a hard time and wait 20 years to even tell anybody, because it's a very difficult thing for a human being to do, and make yourself that vulnerable to your peers and come off looking like you've lost your mind or something. So I digress. But anyways, so I am floating. My consciousness is like behind this being. This being is giant. I would say maybe like 15 to 17 feet in height. The whole, it looked like some kind of like halls of the gods themselves or something. It was the weirdest thing. And he was sitting like in this throne, and he stood up, and the power that I felt that was emitted from him, just from him rising, was like, whoa, that blew my mind. I've never experienced feeling energy like that. It was just the weirdest freaking experience, and there was no transition from me even leaving with the light beings, from the departure of that into seeing this like ancient god sitting on his throne. There was no there was no transition from that to just coming out of it and being like, what just happened? And then the rest of the psilocybin experience proceeded to be a completely normal run-of-the-mill experience. And so I was really taken back by it, and it really caught me off guard. Alright, so after the experience, I had time to digest everything, and at this point I believe that that was some form of activation. And it wasn't just that. I started the gateway process, and I would get mad at myself because I would fall asleep, and so I ended up starting all the sessions over and really focused. It was really actually on point at paying attention, and had really weird things come into my vision and everything. So even though I'm only on tape 7, I highly recommend it, especially if you're into, finding out some answers about what's really going on. So anyways, I was at like tape 5. It was one of those where the hemi sync sounds ran to the end of the tape, and I was like, okay, I was done with my session, and I went outside for a minute to ground and just chill, and I closed my eyes and let like the sunlight. At first, when you close your eyes, the sunlight, it can be like so like bright and red, But if you keep your eyes from fluttering and you're in a relaxed state, then things will start to come into your vision. And I've seen this weird fractal pattern, not just once but twice. So it looks like this circle. It's completely circle, but there's points of fractals on all sides going inward, and it's like this pulsing thing, and it was so weird. The first time that I seen it, it was pulsing, and it went from this normal rate to slowing down, and then it went to this complete stop, and my mind was just blown because I've never seen anything like that, especially, just being sober. But I've had more paranormal experiences completely sober. I think that anything from big pharma is blocking our abilities, honestly, and that's another deep dive topic that I do want to get into. So yes, that happened twice. The second sun activation weird thing that happened, I saw the exact same pulse thing. This time it did not slow down to a stop, but everything that I was seeing, that my vision just changed, and I seen like it looked. I know it sounds crazy, but after researching other esoteric, deep meaning, weird topics, the whole dragon thing really is not that weird and uncommon in that world, and that's another interesting topic I want to get into. My whole life I've absolutely loved how dragons look. I used to have like posters of them hanging up. I'm a total nerd when it comes to things like that. So anyways, I was not expecting to see what I saw, but it was like the tail of a dragon, and it had like, the little, like, how reptiles like have that frill. There was a few spots on the tail, but it seemed like it was like kind of had gaps. So that happened. It looked like I was seeing like landscapes and rocks and stuff, but everything is like this washed out color that's kind of hard to articulate, because it's like kind of dull when you go into that state. So after that, I seen this like serpent kind of wrapped around me, and I was just like, what is going on? Like, that's the second time it's happened. I'm completely sober, and I am seeing like just as much or more if I was actually taking something. So oh my god, the second time it completely wiped my energy. Like, I was completely exhausted for the rest of the day. I immediately went inside, and I had to lay on the bed, and I closed my eyes, and I was just laying there, and I was like, oh my god, like, what is happening to me, dude? And everything went from the brightest blue, and like, because I had my eyes closed, so I was seeing colors from being out in the light. When you go into a darker space, everyone knows that. So it went from blue to violet, but it had, oh my god, it was like purple, but it had in between all these like gaps of things. It almost looked like cells, and there was lights that was all around it that almost looked like how a black light would have this like really intensified color, but the color was a lot brighter than that, if that makes any sense. And I just was like I was so exhausted after that. But I think that all three of those things have a lot to do with how I feel now. I feel like I stepped into this whole new other power that I don't even know what to do with. I feel like a completely different vibration. I even feel lighter. I'm a lot more aware and conscious of literally everything that is going on around me, and I was already in a place of that, but I struggled with depression off and on my entire life. When I started the spiritual journey, it has gradually gotten better and better, but after these experiences, I feel like bad things, I'm just like, psh, like I don't even want to, you know, take in that emotion of anger or anything and hold on to it. So apparently, spiritual activations definitely are a crazy thing when it does happen. That's a lot of shift of energy. I feel like I stepped into a bright room. It's an absolutely beautiful feeling. I feel like this was my calling to get on here and tell everyone about what is going on, what happened to me, and I know that this won't resonate with everyone, but when you are your true, authentic self, there's other souls out there that are going to be like, yeah, she's the real deal and she's talking about real stuff. So many people, like, try to be like the spiritual master or spiritual teacher, and there's so much narcissism I see in this community of, I don't know, everything is just so competitive, and the world is already just such a trash place when you could put up a video of you doing something completely stupid or hurting someone or something disgusting, and you will literally get rich from all of the likes and all of your views and yada yada. And there is a lot of really good esoteric content out there, and you know, I've been dot connecting for a while, and that's kind of like my forte, is trying to look through all this crazy broad spectrum of fringe topics and finding different things. And so, like, maybe I'm your new news source or something, I don't know. But I do want to tell you lots of cool nature stories and how I got to where I am. So I think that the next episode is going to be about the mantis effect, is what we ended up calling it. My entire life changed, the entire trajectory of literally everything, and how I got to where I am now started with my dad finding a mantis on a tree at his house. And I am a very stubborn person that loves animals, and I was like, well, I want it. I want to look at it. He would not let me. He said they're sacred, and I had to just leave it alone. And so I start looking up things about mantises, and I didn't know that they had mantises for sale that were really awesome looking. So I ended up finding this video, and it was on YouTube, and it was like this mantis attack squad. So it shows like all these mantises, like all like rah, and there was like 5 of them that are like in a threat pose, and I was like, I want to collect all 5. And I not only collected all 5, Jesus Christ, this is embarrassing. I don't even know how many I ended up with. This was during the pandemic, and I think everyone was going through some kind of transformation then anyways. So this mantis story gets pretty hella crazy, so like and subscribe if you liked this crazy video. I'm not a average girl, and I have been a little bit nervous trying to spit all this out in video 1. Like I said, I'm totally not used to this, so I will try harder in video 2 to just have a better flow of things, because I'm such a perfectionist that I will go crazy if I have to refilm this and re-edit this one more time, because this is the 3rd time, because I'm so shy and I feel like it had to be right. But this time I do feel like I got it right. So if I did get it right, then like and maybe comment and tell me anything that I could do a little bit different. I do still have healing dentures in, so it's a little bit hard to talk. I do get my permanent ones soon, so I'm super excited about that. I waited like 10 years of my life for that change, and so I feel like I went from an ugly duckling to like, like just a completely different person, because when you need dental work done to the extreme that I did, it makes you definitely depressed, not only depressed, but I did not want to see the world anymore, and I went into complete like hiding and isolation from everything for a long time, and it's like being reborn. It really is, and I feel so much joy and gratitude for everything bad that has happened to me, because these were all very good learning experiences. And when you dig deep into the near-death experiences, and so many people talk about the soul contract, like this is what we signed up for to learn. And through everything that's happened in the timeline of my life, I totally see it now, because I've went through some really horrible stuff. So I'm going to get into my story and a bunch of other cool stuff, like trees being sentient and this new thing that I had ran into. I'm going to take some notes on that this afternoon, and I'm going to bring you some really cool info. So I hope you had fun, and I will see you on the next episode. This is our Earth Soul, and I'm Jessica, and I hope that you have a wonderful night. Peace out.